So I'm going to walk you through the steps to ensuring that your portfolio is an actual living document. What do I mean by living in this case? I mean that it's nonlinear. That the table of contents has a nonlinear flow option for the reader. So that if I look at your table of contents and I see, oh, she's got an important artifact for this, I can click on it and go right there as opposed to having to go page to page to page to page to page to get there. Plus, we're also going to learn how to embed our artifacts and our documents into our PowerPoint so that we send it to someone, everything goes as one file easily. So here we go. How do we create a living table of contents? First, build out your slide structure. You'll notice that I have several slides over here. I'm in normal view so I can see all my slides. I can switch over to slide sorter view and see them all independently, or we can go into show mode. Well, we can't do anything in show mode except look, so we're working, so I go back to normal mode. So build out, all you need to put on these slides are the titles. The titles are important because that's how we're going to be able to link them. That's how we're going to be able to link them. So build out your slide structure and give them all titles. Got it. So then you type out the title of the slide you're going to be linking to and then highlight that title. What do I mean by highlight? Double click on the word, select it, or move my mouse over it so that it is selected. It is highlighted. All right, so I've got my word highlighted. Next, I'm going to need to pull up the hyperlink option. Now, how do I do that? I am working on a Macintosh, so it's going to look slightly different on my computer than it probably will on yours. And depending on what version of Microsoft PowerPoint you're using, old one, new one, the one that came out 15 minutes ago, it'll probably be a little different. But in general, it's the same thing. What we're looking for is the insert a hyperlink option. Now there's a shortcut to this, and I'm going to show you what it is. If I go up here to insert and I slide down to hyperlink, notice across from hyperlink I have this little symbol and the letter K. What that means is that if on my keyboard I hit the control key or the command key that has that symbol, which you will find if you look, that little symbol, hold that down and then hold the letter K down, the pop-up menu will appear. So that's exactly what I did. I just, on my keyboard, held down the command key and the letter K. Boom. Okay, so I've got my pop-up menu. Now, with this pop-up menu, what do I need to look for? I want to make sure, and this is crucial, that what it thinks I'm linking to is not a web page, but a document. Let's pull up the menu again and I'll show you what that means. See, the default is web page, because when we think hyperlink, we initially think out into, the blogosphere, the web. We're linking to a document. Got it? Not a web page. You're linking to a document. Then after you've got that, you want to click Locate. That is across from Anchor. All right, what do I mean by that? Well, I can't do it when it's web page anyway, so that's one way of making sure it's done right. So I click Document, and now, across from Anchor, the Locate button becomes available. Got it? So I click Document, then across from Anchor, I click Locate. This is why it was so important that you titled your slides. Watch what we're going to do next. Document, Locate. Don't mess with first slide, last slide, next slide. You get yourself in trouble. If you move something around, it's a mess. Look for your slide titles right there. All right, what slide do I want to link to? Let's do this together. All right, click. Okay. Boom. Got it? Now, that was kind of a bad example because I want to show you what it looks like on a table of contents. So, let's go to the next page. Let's say I'm putting in my link to this, important artifact number 1. I highlight it. That's my text. I'm going to do my shortcut. I'm going to do my K key. Now, again, I'm linking to a document. It is another slide, and I'm going to link to this slide, for example. Click. And then, obviously, click OK. Now I see it's hot. How do I make sure it's working? you can't ever check a hot link in this mode. I mean, you can go over it and see if, it shows it's a hot link, but to make sure it works, you do have to switch into slideshow. So I switch into slideshow, and there's my link, and I click on it, and it takes me to the slide. I've built from my table of contents out. How do I get back to my table of contents? Have to have that on there, right? Well, go back to the slide that I want to link to the table. And I strongly recommend you use some consistent phrase like back to table of contents or back home, something of that. Type that. You can put it anywhere in the page and then move it later because it's usually more appropriate if it's in the lower right-hand corner. But you want to be consistent with wherever you put it. So type those words and then put them somewhere on the page. Again, you can move them around on the page later. That's not going to be a problem. As you did before, we can go through insert to get to the hyperlink option, but you need to pull up the hyperlink. And then we're going to, again, click document, locate, and then go back to where we want to go. So let's slide back down. Here's my page I want to link. So let's see. I'm just going to be consistent about this. So at the bottom of the page, and I'll move it later, back to table of contents. I don't want it to be obnoxious, so I'm going to make the text smaller. All right. Highlight it. I need my hyperlink option now. All right. A document, yes. Locate, yes. Which slide do I want this to go to? Let's say linking back to table of contents. Okay. Save it. And double check that it works. Okay, it's below the fold. You guys can't see it, but it's right there at the bottom of the page. I click on it, and yes, it takes me back to my page. So I've got that working. Great. We know how to link table of contents out to a page, and from the page back to the table of contents. Make sure you have that link back to the table of contents on every page. Let's look at embedding artifacts. This is when you're going to have to slow yourself down the first couple times you do it. You need to add the text, whatever this artifact is, give something. I always put the text down first because once you embed the document, the name doesn't show up. So you want to know what exactly you're putting there. And then we're going to go back to insert. Only this time, instead of hyperlink, we're looking for inserting an object that we're going to be selecting from a file, and we're going to click to embed it as an icon. How does this play out? Let's take a look. So I'm going back to insert, and look, on my computer, it's right next to hyperlink. I'm inserting an object. I know that sounds weird because you're inserting a file, but just go with it. You're inserting an object. Now it's going to ask you exactly which kind of object. Well, most of what we're going to be putting in here are Word documents or PDFs, something of that ilk, maybe some charts. No, 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 no. We are not creating new. This is where a lot of people get hung up. Create from file. I know it's terrible nomenclature, but that's what you're doing. You're embedding the file in, all right? You're creating a copy of that file to be embedded in. So you want to click, let's make sure we do that again, create from file. All right, so I'm just going to pick any document. Now, before you go any further, stop. You don't need to select. You've already selected. You're fine. But this is key. You want to display as icon. The reason for that is, number one, it makes it more obvious for the person looking at your document where they need to click to get it. And number two, if you just put the text in there, sometimes it doesn't open properly. So please display as icon, and that's the icon you're going to get. Of course, it's a Word doc, makes sense. Then you can click OK. And it may take a minute, so just keep breathing. But it will appear, and you can move this around on the page, no big deal. Now, if you want to check that you've done this properly, again, first save it, and then go into slideshow mode so that you can double check that it's there. But it won't open here. You can click and click and click till the cows come home. It won't open in slideshow mode. You have to go back into edit mode, then double click, and it will open. So please, you can understand now why it's important you add at least some text to the page before you add the document so you don't forget what you've got there. Again, I can move this around. It's not going to make a difference. I can have multiple documents on the same page. So I'll just do it again. I want to insert an object, create from file, not new. New will put you in a loop where you just keep getting blank pages. It waits for you to create something. It'll drive you bananas. Okay, select what it is you want to insert. But, be sure you display it as an icon. Then click OK. Then just give it a minute. Yep, and there it is. And I can move it around and have it wherever I need it to be. Save it. It's going to work. If you want to double check this, what I strongly recommend, and I do this sometimes with really important documents I'm double, triple paranoid about, is I will close PowerPoint. I'll save it all, close it, and then I will email myself a copy and open this new copy on my desktop just to make sure that everything does indeed open properly. So that's a nice little trick to making sure everything works. All right? It's pretty basic stuff. And to be honest, if you have trouble with this, your best bet is to go out and Google for more assistance. There's a million other tutorials out there, and they're all probably much more eloquent than this one. But this is down and dirty, and I will have this PowerPoint posted somewhere that is retrievable so that you can use that along with, but I will take these documents out because these are not for public consumption. All right, my friends, I hope that helped. Thank you for your time and your attention.